Hello there, guys, and welcome to my second installment of Greater Greatness, where we are doing a slow grow army building, and this is my journey of my Space Wolves. So last time we left it with Najal and some Terminators have been finished off and some, just tidied up a little bit. And I'm going to show you what my progress I've made in the last month. So moving on to the presentation. I have made progress. So I haven't made progress. So in the last month. Finished off Najal, which is totally not Najal. 5 Terminators, 5 Assault Intercessors, a Captain on Thunderwolf, which is now unfortunately not there anymore, which is just going to be a nice looking Thunderwolf, and 3 more Thunderwolves. So yeah, I'm quite happy with the progress so far. It took quite a while to do the armor in the end because basically you're trying to blend it out in a way that the sharpness of the it's not non-metallic metal as such, but a non-metallic metal look. Because obviously, especially with the background of what we're looking at here, I want to go for more of like a darker base tone for these guys, and have like the sharp edges turn up later on, so that we can have a bit more contrast and it'll look a bit more catching on the table. As my lovely teammate, content creator teammate Ben has been doing with his army, he uses the phrase 3 foot fabulous, which I love. So that's what we're going to be trying to do. So, Librarian, totally not Najal. This is the few photos I've managed to take where the lighting was pretty decent. So, as you can see, Najal's got a bit of a bigger base because it's just for a Crusade. So, a lot of us are just doing Hero Hammer. So, putting a few of the characters on a bigger base. So, I've got that one on basically the same size as the Captain. Terminator, I believe, is just a 50. Gives a bit more space to put a cool little base down and basically makes him look a little bit more imposing. The Najal was converted out of the original Najal, so this is the end of his staff and the crow, and then everything else is green stuff, and there's a cloak from the Wolfguard Terminator box with the old one. And then I'm using the new Primaris Terminator kits here. And as you can see, I've tried to do some blending on the swords, on the sword, so try to give some contrast to the rest of the colors. The yellow, which I've had a few people ask me about. So that is basically done with the Yanden Darks and a couple of thin layers of that, then Magmadroth Flame thinned down a bit with some medium, and then going over it again with a mix of the Yanden Darks and a brighter yellow. I believe it's Flash Kits, and then just blend a little bit more Flash Kits in until we have a bit of a smooth coat. And I'm quite happy with the way the yellow's turned out because it looks like there's a sort of blend coming through. You'll see the yellow a bit more on the Thunderwolves and the Assault Intercessors as well, which seem to work quite well. And again, we're trying to keep this sharp edge highlight look, and the panels sort of look like they're catching light in a very organic way. On the Jarl shoulder pad, I've also done a little bit of freehand. I painted a little wolf. The wolf is okay. I think I need to work more on my freehand, but I'll just come with time, I think, because I haven't done loads of freehand before. But I'm trying to introduce a little bit more freehand to this army because I think it gives it a little bit more a little bit more of a thing to stand out of the table, because we were trying to take these to try and get best in show and get best in show at some stage. And the eyes on the Terminators were literally just done by a bit of Korax white, Magmadroth Flame, then down, and then a little bit of white as a dot, just to create this sort of glowing effect. And I did the same on the little lenses on their shoulder pads. The gold, which is again, this is a mix. This is like my little mix. It's basically a copper ore from the Vallejo range, and so copper and gold ore. So it's basically those two mixed together with a little bit of the pigment powder from the Vallejo range, which looks fantastic. Which I think it looks great. It's a very easy mix. It covers over in one coat. Only thing is, when you wash it, if you're going to wash it with a different color than like what the different thing that I did, you'll need to gloss varnish over it first and then wash it, so or else the wash won't take. So just so you're aware. Then all I did was then pin wash it with some streak and grime, and then clean up the areas with a cotton bud, just to maintain an element of shading on that on those areas. And then I just mixed in a little bit of a brighter silver in, and then touched it over again just to create a little bit of a highlight. And as you can see on the shoulder pad of Najal, you can see where it goes into all of the recesses and panels, basically almost like a panel line effectively, because you're cleaning it up over the top anyway. So yeah, that's Najal and 5 Terminators finished off. Next we have the Thunderwolves. The Thunderwolves, I was proper happy with these. Proper happy with these ones. This is literally fresh off the tape, fresh off the production line, as you can see with the with my painting sheet down. So Captain, as you can see, I've used a lot of another thing I've used throughout this army is Great Tide Studio bits. So the Great Tide Studio bits are fantastic. They're like a 3D printing range online, which you can buy. Um, or you can either buy them printed on Etsy, or you can buy these STLs from the creator, which I'd recommend because they're great STLs, and then just print them yourself. I've used a shield from I've used one shield on all four of these from that range because I think the shield just looks fantastic. It's got a lot of detail on there that you can introduce. As you can see at the bottom left, you've got the shields down. I've got a diamond on each of the middle of the shields, and there's lots of area there to introduce your own sort of flavor and own value to the model. And I did the yellow the exact same as the other one, so the magma draw frame and the blend and the recesses. Except this one, I did a little bit more. I put in a little bit of the Magdroth flame on these chain swords and blended it into the yellow because it gives it a lot more of a. It basically catches the eye. A little wet blend goes a long way. You just need to make sure that the layer that your base layer that you're going to be blending from is dry before you carry on blending up, and it works really. I think it works really nicely. I was really happy with how they turned out. And the bases on the Thunderwolves. So I actually used UV resin on these. So I basically painted I basically created a cork sort of standpoint for them all. So they had some like rocks that they were jumping off or onto or on that sort of level. And then I textured over those rocks with some paste. I also created, but also you want to make sure it doesn't just look like cork. So I basically tear off the edges. On top, if there's any flat areas of cork, I use texture to try and make that a little bit more organic. And any areas that I may have missed or something like that in the snow stage, I put the snow on top. And the UV resin is very simple. I just paint the base to make it look like there's ice. So it's basically quite dark in the areas. It will be dark and a bit lighter towards the shallower areas. I put a layer of UV resin over the top, cure it with the UV light, and it's done. And then afterwards, or say it's done, it's then cured. Then the next day when it's had a bit more time to harden up, I'll then get some sandpaper and just scratch it up, just because that's what ice would naturally look like. It doesn't look like ice isn't always completely see through, so I'll scratch it up and make it look like a little bit more natural that way. And yeah, so and obviously the Thunderwolves themselves, they're done very simply. It's basically zenith, a contrast, and some dry brushing some areas, and then filling out the blacks on the pores on the nose, and then painting some eyes up. And that's basically where I left it there because I'm going to be painting quite a few Thunderwolves soon, I think. So I'm going to be. I need to have that. I need to have the Thunderwolf itself in a bit of an easy situation, and basically these can be built on later on with some more layering and dry brushing because that's the Thunderwolf actually finishes the captain. If you have a look at the captain, that's a fully finished Thunderwolf. As you can see, the other ones are a little bit darker because originally I was going to put a little bit more effort into the character to make him shine a little bit more, but then now that the character doesn't really exist, so I'm now going to have to go through all the other Thunderwolves and highlight those up, which is on my list to do. And in the bottom right, you can see there is my little photo of the captain with his 3 dudes, and I'm with his 5 dudes. So yeah, quite happy with how those turned out in the end. And finally, this is one that I added on like last minute because I was just like, I need some troops. I need troop choice at some stage because I've actually got it all built now as well. That's another bit of a progress that I made. It's all built, primed, and zenithed. So I'm going to be building up some layers over those for my 1,000-point Crusade list because I actually played a game with that in my first game. Managed to get 4 level ups on the first one because I managed to beat my friendly's killer cannons. And this list is the list that I'm using is basically just a painting project because it's basically a friend group of mine down where I'm from, and we're just going to be very much focusing on the story but basically everyone's using a bit more of a fluffy list, if that makes sense. These are salt and cessors. As you can see, I've been trying to work more and more on the blending on the armor to make it look better and better. I think every time I do one, it looks better each time. So I'm hoping by the end it'll tidy up. These guys, again, because I want the sharp highlights on the salt and cessors as well. I had to try and build those up the way I did. But I think in time I will be going back in with darker colors, re-establishing some of those blends and making them a little bit more smooth. But I think for tabletop, this is going to be great. I think when there's lots of these guys on the table, especially if there's like lots of blood claws or whatever list that I decide to cook up with this new Space Wolf book, I'm hoping it'll look great. I'm hoping it'll look something like this, because I think a lot of this, like a lot of this, will look cool. And again, I just filled out some of the areas on the bases with ice. So any like areas where they weren't stood on a rock, or there's a little gap in the base, I put the ice down there, and then snowed over the top as it normally did. That's basically just army painted snow mixed with PVA and just slapped on top. I have found a better way to do it now, though. So I'm not going to be redoing the ones I've already done, but I'm going to be using Valhalla Blizzard, which is one of my good friend David from Glasshammer recommended to me. So I'm going to try that out, because I think that'll look great as well. So yeah, I'm really happy with these guys. I'm really happy how they turned out, and yeah. So that's basically it for me. That's basically it for what I've done so far. But what's next? So we've got a Ragnar. So I have Ragnar Blackbrain, is primed and Zenith, so he's on my list next. Then I have Ulrich at the same stage. I've got a Brutalis built in Zenith. I've got 5 Scouts built in Zenith, and I want to play more Crusade. So I'm going to be painting up all those guys. Because Ulrich and Ragnar are just going to be, Ragnar's just a captain in my Crusade list, and Ulrich is just a chaplain. But I'm using their models because they look cool, and I can use them as a painting project as well. And the Blood Claws, and the new kits. I'm going to get 2 of the new Special Farming boxes. They are going to be on my list as soon as I get them and get my hands on them, because those units are going to be added to my Crusade force pretty quickly, because I think they look fantastic. And yeah, that's basically a quick I say quick, but an update of where we are. And I look forward to giving you guys the next update, which will be a couple of characters and a couple, hopefully, maybe, if we get them in time and get them finished in time, a couple of the new units. So yeah, thanks for following along, guys. I will see you at the next one. And yeah, bye, guys.